So there's more. I don't know, I guess I'm probably going to attach this to the previous videos. It'll just be all cobbled together. Or this will be separate, I don't know. But I want to talk about rage because it came up. It came up. I was talking myself into this place of Zen. And then, I got the email that essentially was secondhand confirmation of what I had already figured, but hadn't been verbalized to me, which is that my ex is taking all of the proceeds from the sale of our condo. And even there's stuff bubbling up. I got an email from the realtor, which was forwarded, actually, it wasn't to me, it was to the other agent, asking for paperwork that I would sign that essentially forfeited my rights to the proceeds. And that got me. That got me. That triggered me hard fucking core. And I did try to record it. It was disjointed and mostly just me being angry, and that's not something I want to hide necessarily, which is why I want to talk about it, but it didn't necessarily feel meaningful either. It felt more like it was feeding into that, just wanting to kind of rant and rave over unfairness. And I was just really caught up in it. I mean, and I had the awareness to recognize, yes, this is ego. This is ego wanting to feel like a victim. And that's what it did. But it was just making me more angry because there was judgment of that simultaneously. And I just wanted to let the energy come through more purely without interpretation. So I stopped and I found a cardboard box, an empty cardboard box that was going in the trash, and I beat the shit out of it. I ripped it to pieces. I kicked it, I stomped on it. I let that rage come through without judgment because I stopped trying to verbalize it. I stopped trying to identify it. I just accepted that it was there, that it was happening, that there's just this massive wave of anger. And I had to acknowledge feelings of betrayal. I had thoughts of bitterness, resentment, of the ill wishing. And I want to admit to that. And it's they didn't feel good, and I could feel immediately that really wasn't even me. And that's what made me want to examine this more, because I've been exploring rage a lot more, and I believe from experience that there is a sacred rage. There is the sacred feminine rage, and that is the rage, and this isn't coming from me, this is an established sort of idea, particularly in tantric traditions, but there is a sacred feminine rage, and that is the energy of the dark feminine, the dark goddess, the destructive aspect, but it's the Queen of Swords, it's Kali, it's that which cuts through deception. It is she who cuts off the heads of demons, which is just kind of a word for perpetrators of deceit, in essence. And it's a very pure, clean, love-based rage. That's that empowered feminine no, that really is calling one to stand in their power. It's saying, you are responsible for you. Take ownership of yourself, take ownership of your emotion, Do you see that you are playing the role of victim? And ultimately what ended up happening, as I, in the past 2 hours, have been exploring the rage that I was feeling in regards to this situation, is I was able to turn that on myself, because the anger was from a place of fear. It was from a lackful place and not a loving place. It was that anger of feeling attacked, feeling violated, feeling harmed. And in order to feel that way, that means I have to perceive my own capability of being harmed. The word vulnerability it's not quite what I'm looking for here. Trying to put words to it. The perception that I can be harmed is the giving away of my power. That is, my knowledge is of my own well-being. My knowledge, and that's what this energy that I especially just now was feeling reflected back at me was saying, are you seriously going to step into the role of victim? Are you seriously going to do that? Really? You who are divine, who knows what you know, you who is ultimately, absolutely, unendingly abundant, you're going to fucking fight over peanuts because you're giving your power away? You're going to turn off your tap into infinite everything, infinite well-being, infinite security? You're going to turn that off and squabble over scraps in the dust? Really? You're gonna fucking do that? I'm saying that to myself, hearing that directed at myself. And that's what shook me out of the previous perspective that I had felt really wrapped up in, really tangled up in, and let myself. I didn't want to fight that either. I wanted to acknowledge that existed within me, and also just recognize I've repressed a lot of anger in my life. I didn't know how to set boundaries. I didn't know how to say no to anybody for anything for a long time. And especially in this previous relationship, it was extremely toxic. And I'm not blaming anyone else for that. I was a participant. I allowed that to be the case, and I allowed myself to enable that behavior, and that's equally toxic, right? And that word is not an insult either. It's just a descriptor of this is not the way we intend to be relating to each other. This is completely ego-based. This is totally removed from higher awareness and self. But I was feeling that rage, that betrayal sort of outrage, and it was coming from a place of fear, of lack, of perceiving myself as attacked and harmed. And I stopped and I watched a video. I'm a fan of Sabrina Lynn, Rewilding, that's her channel here, and she talks a lot about the dark feminine, all of that stuff. Watched a video about sacred rage, and it became very clear watching that video that yes, I have felt that. I have tapped into that. And I do feel that way about the rage I was feeling last week. Had a lot more to do with that. That was much more of this energy of you were really gonna forget yourself. Like, wake the fuck up. Wake up. You're really gonna play this small petty game? You're really gonna be diminishing yourself to this tiny human form exclusively that has to fight and mollycoddle? And no, we're not doing that. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. That is the energy, and directing that at myself helped me to shake loose from the other perspective. Really recognizing, which I could see that I was playing the role of victim, but it didn't stop me, right? It didn't stop me. This stopped that. It shifted things. Suddenly I was seeing from this very clear, and not even really angry, just no nonsense, no fucks given. Are you really gonna do this? Are you seriously going to entertain this? You're gonna play the role of victim? Really? Again, knowing what you know, being what you are, you're gonna step back, you're gonna give up your infinite power for infinite joy and abundance and all the things. You're gonna give up your pleasure and your peace. You're gonna give that power away. Really? Really? That's what you're choosing to do? Really? Just that over and over again? Just the fucking really? Somebody standing there who absolutely knows you, knows your potential, knows your well-being, and is just beaming it at you. Knows your strength, knows your invulnerability, your impenetrability, knows that nothing can stop you, nothing is against you. So why are you fighting? Why are you pretending? Why are you making up an enemy when there is none? Why are you descending again to wrestle in the dirt? When you are above this, and not in a way that is superior, not like anybody is less than you, but you know better. You know more than this. Why are you're gonna fall back? And all of this said in a very loving way, just emphatically, just no bullshit. This is how it is. I love you and I'm not gonna bullshit. That is Queen of Swords, that's Kali, that's the sword that cuts through deceit. It is straight shooting. You're really gonna fucking do this. Because you don't have to, and you know you don't have to. We both know. You and I both know. There's no illusion here. All of that dispelled. You know what you are. You know who you are. Divine, deliberate creator. That is you, capable of all things, everything in the universe, moving for you. Moving for you. You know how to access that. And you know it's not this. You know it's not this. So what are you gonna do? Choose. You have the choice. Are you gonna choose to be a fucking victim again? Are you gonna go back? You're gonna put yourself back in the box? You're gonna make yourself small again? After this, after becoming this big, you're gonna go back to being tiny? Really? Just listen to that. Are you really gonna do that? And then it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. It's like, oh my God, that is what I was doing. You're right. That's what I was doing. Getting all worked up over this, engaging in this drama, in this petty bullshit. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. This is nothing. Doesn't matter. Not one bit. Let the people be people. And let that person part of you recognize that that's there. Recognize there is person here, and that person has been just as involved with all the drama. And that person still has an inclination to be involved with all the drama. But just recognize you are not that person. You are not that person. You have a choice. You are more than this. You are more conscious. You are more aware. You have a choice. Let the person feel a desire towards the drama. Let the person feel like they're going to get sucked up into it. That's okay. That doesn't matter. You, consciousness, rise above. That's rising above. You're not putting yourself as a person above other people. It's just the consciousness becoming aware. I am not actually a part of this situation. I have a different choice. I don't have to get wrapped up in this. I can let this all take place, and I can stay here in my peace, in my power, knowing everything is well. This doesn't matter. There's nothing to be worried about here. I don't need to descend to the perspective that perceives harm, because that is a lower perspective. I don't need to descend there, and then because I'm perceiving harm, I feel like I have to defend. I don't need to do that. I can stay in this higher expanded awareness of my absolute abundance and security and well-being and belovedness and righteousness. And again, that's not pitting me against anyone else. That's not a comparison. That's not putting other people beneath me. That's just staying in the place where I am. That's just refusing to descend into the confusion, in the delusion. Refusing to go there. That's what the inner being, that's what our higher self is doing all the time. Not going there. The person goes there, the ego goes there, the mind goes there, and that's fine. There's no judgment about that. It's appreciated, it's celebrated. But I can choose to identify with that, or identify with that which I am, which is not moving, not fucking moving from this knowledge of well-being. That is what we're called to stay here. And again, it's not a judgment if we descend, if something happens. That's okay. But we're called back. We're called back. We're called to rise above again. And it's an internal rising. It is that realization repeatedly. I slipped into believing that I was a person and that all of this shit mattered. I fell into that again. And there are many ways to shake out of that perspective. Humor is a great one too. Rage is another great one. Just that no nonsense, really, you see what you're doing. It is that snap out of it. Come off it, Shiva. What are you doing pretending to be this guy with all these problems? You're fucking God. You are the creator. What are you doing? Really? Really? You have infinite resources at your fingertips at all times. Everything is always working out for you, no matter what. You want to go back to playing the victim? Really? You're not tired of that yet? You're not fucking tired of that role yet? Because it's been a couple millennia of that, and it's about time. You know who you are. You're doing this deliberately. There is no threat. There is no threat. That is what we're here to realize. There is no harm. There is no danger. There is no risk. There is no threat. There's nothing to defend. There is nothing to fight for or against. Everything is, and everything is well, and everything is ease and infinite and abundant. And that's it. That's it. And we can choose to descend into a skewed, warped perspective that includes the perception of harm, or we can choose to rise as consciousness above to the higher place, the higher perspective. That's why it's rising above. Higher perspective, dimensionality, broader awareness, seeing the bigger picture. And to rest in this place of the knowledge that all is well. All is well. It doesn't matter. I choose peace. I choose my peace. I choose my joy. I choose to feel good. Because that's what I want. Yeah, the ego wants other things too. And it's not against the soul. We want all of these experiences. We came here for a variety of experience. We came here for contrast. We came here to mix things up. We came here for all of that. Nothing has gone wrong. It's not a moral indictment. There is no morality here. It's just what is. And the choice. How do we choose to feel? How do we choose to believe? How do we choose to focus our awareness, our attention, our perspective? Do you want to be a victim? Do you want to play the role of victim? Do you want to play the role of struggling against, of disadvantaged and downtrodden and disenfranchised? Because you can, and that's absolutely allowed and absolutely okay. But knowing what you know, that you have the power, you have the choice, are you going to fight somebody over a scrap of food, or are you going to let infinite intelligence bring you a feast? Because you have that choice. Are you going to wrestle over pennies in the street? Or are you going to let the infinite wealth and abundance that is yours flow to you through every avenue? And it can only get to you when you're inviting it in, when you're accepting it. And you're not inviting it in when you feel the need to wrestle over pennies in the street. Do you see? I'm saying all this to myself. By the way, 2121, just as I looked up. This is all, I'm saying this to me. This is to myself. If this resonates, well, we are the same self. But this is a statement to me, internally, of really, you're going to let this ruffle your feathers? You're going to let this matter? This tiny, measly, paltry thing, you're going to let this matter? You have so much wealth coming to you. So much. This is a drop in the bucket. Pour the whole bucket out, and it doesn't matter. That's how much abundance is yours. That's how well your being is. That's how secure and loved and provided for you are. Kick the fucking bucket over. Let it run. Let the bucket run overeth. Floweth over. Eth. Let it go. It does not matter. You are so abundant that you could forget, you could lose thousands and thousands of dollars, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't mean anything. It wouldn't make a difference. It wouldn't harm you in any way. That's how abundant you are. Hold that feeling. Hold on to that. That's your treasure. That's your true abundance right there. The knowledge that you could just drop $10,000 falls out of your pocket on the street, and it makes no difference to you. It's no harm, no foul. That's how abundant you are. Spread the love. So spread it out. So give it away. Throw it away. If that's what it feels like, throw it away. It's setting it free. Let it free. You're safe in doing that. You have so much money, you could just make it rain out of a jet plane. And you would never run out. You still have more. So much money that you can't even spend it all. That's how much you have. So much money, you couldn't even lose it all. So much money is just pouring out of every orifice. You're trying to spend it. So much money that you have to work to spend it. That you're finding as many avenues as possible. I got all this money. I got to do something with it. It's taking up a warehouse. I need space in the warehouse for more money. So I got to spend some of the money to make space for more money to come in. That's how abundant you are. Let it go. Let it flow. Let it move. You're free. The more you spend, the more you make. So spend. Spend. It's coming in. You better make room for it. It's coming in. Clear it out so it can come in. That's it. That's it. That's the message. That's the feeling. All of that is spoken with love to myself. There's so much fucking more. There's so much more for us. And we're gonna be upset over some tiny little It's silly. It's silly. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. But we know it's silly. We can just laugh it off and move on with our fabulous, amazing, literal dream lives. And then just feel grateful for that. I'm so fucking grateful. Everything is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for everything, exactly as it is. It's great. It's amazing. And it's only more so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. Take it easy.